Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Why Julie and Todd Chrisley believe their lives now are rougher than prison. Todd Chrisley and his wife Julie Chrisley are opening up about the struggle of reacclimating to life outside of prison. On the July 23 episode of the couple's podcast, Chrisley Confessions 2.0, the pair, who were pardoned by President Donald Trump and released from prison in May, discussed the difficulties of transitioning back to regular life after 28 months behind bars. I've actually talked to a few of the women that I was in prison with that are already home, Julie, 52, said. And we all have this general consensus that it's kind of weird to even say it. No, it's not weird, Todd, 56, interjected. Life is rougher than prison life. I mean, that's a sad thing to say because it is so horrific. The conditions that you're there for, but that's from a physical standpoint. But from an emotional and psychological standpoint, it is harder dealing with day to day. There's very little you can do because you're in prison. And people told me this when I first got there. You can't live out there and in here at the same time because they'll literally run you crazy, she said. And the longer you're there, the more removed you become to the world, she continued. The longer that people are away from their kids, as crazy as it sounds, because it's a double-edged sword, the easier it becomes because you get into your own routine, she said. It doesn't mean you don't miss them, you don't love them, all that, but just for me being in prison, I had to just watch out for me, she recalled. I had to take care of me. I had to make sure that I was good as I could be, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and that's all I could really do. I think you get into that mode because that's how you kind of have to do to survive in there, and so coming back, and I think for us, listen, it was such a blessing to be able to come out and have a full unconditional pardon, she said. After Todd thanked President Trump, Julie continued, we didn't have to go to a halfway house. So we don't have to answer to a probation officer. We're not limited as to where we can go and how we can move. So I think we were thrown right back into the real world. The pardons from President Trump put an end to a legal saga, which led to the pair being indicted on 12 counts of bank and wire fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy, and later convicted and sentenced to a combined 19 years in prison in November 2022, though that number was reduced by around 2 years each in September 2023. They immediately began appealing their case, and while Todd's appeal was upheld, Julie's was initially granted due to insufficient evidence. However, a judge later ruled that her original punishment was sufficient. Todd and Julie Chrisley once lived in a mansion with marble floors, walk-in closets, and a view of the Nashville skyline. But today, post-prison and post-pardon, their reality is not just stripped of luxury. It's riddled with something far heavier: the scars of betrayal, public judgment, and a world that won't let them start over. We thought prison was the lowest point, Todd admitted during a recent, emotionally raw podcast appearance with daughter Savannah. But out here, it's like walking through fire in broad daylight, with everyone watching and nobody willing to give you a hand. For the Chrisleys, life after prison hasn't been a celebration of freedom. It's been a daily fight for dignity. While some former inmates re-emerge to cheers or second chances, Todd and Julie have stepped into a world more suspicious than ever. And it hurts. Haunted by headlines, Todd and Julie say the headlines didn't stop when the prison gates opened. If anything, they've gotten louder. Every grocery store run, every church visit, every hesitant walk through their suburban neighborhood feels like a paparazzi ambush. Strangers snap photos. Old acquaintances whisper. Reporters call their adult children at all hours. Julie described it as living in a fishbowl with cracks in the glass. At least in prison, the boundaries were clear. Inmates knew the rules. Guards told you when to eat, when to sleep. Now, she said, everyone on the outside has an opinion on what we deserve, where we should live, and whether we should ever work again. The digital world has been especially cruel. Social media users mock Julie's return to everyday life, making memes of her shopping at Target or wearing a ball cap to avoid attention. I never knew how many people would enjoy watching us struggle, she said, tearing up during an exclusive interview. That's the part I didn't expect. Family torn, trust shattered. Inside prison walls, Todd had clung to the idea that his family would be a safe haven after release. But outside, the damage done during their absence stepped up heroically while her parents were incarcerated, raising 10-year-old Chloe and managing the family's legal and financial battles. But the burden aged her, hardened her. Now, even moments of joy feel weighted. I think we all changed in those months apart, Todd shared, voice cracking. And I don't know yet if we'll ever fully find each other again. As for Kyle, Lindsay, and other extended family members, the fractures are deeper. Old grudges have been reignited. Some haven't called since the day Todd and Julie were pardoned. In prison, you dream of reuniting with family, Julie said quietly. But sometimes, you get out and realize that family doesn't dream of reuniting with you. Financial freefall. Though the Chrisleys were once synonymous with lavish lifestyles and Bravo-worthy opulence, the reality now is much humbler. The millions are gone. So is their television income. Their once thriving real estate business has collapsed. And Julie has spoken openly about cutting coupons and learning how to make meals stretch. I used to buy without looking at a price tag, she confessed. Now I'm comparing the cost of name brand versus store brand beans. And I'm grateful to have that choice. Todd, long known for his tailored suits and polished Southern charm, has faced rejection after rejection from networks, publishers, and former colleagues. Nobody wants to touch the Chrisley name, at least not yet. It's a weird feeling, he said, to be famous, but completely unemployable. They tried to rebuild with new podcast projects and potential reality show offers focused on redemption. But studios remain skittish. Todd believes some executives are afraid of public backlash. Others, he claims, simply don't believe in second chances unless they come with a tearful PR rollout and a full confession. I've apologized, he said firmly, but I won't wear a scarlet letter for the rest of my life just to make people feel better. Faith under fire. Even their church attendance, once a bedrock of their weekly routine, has become complicated. While a few pastors have welcomed them with open arms, others have politely declined their membership or asked them to lay low. They say forgiveness is divine, Julie said, but it's amazing how quickly people forget that when you walk into the sanctuary with a past. Still, the couple holds on tightly to their faith, praying together each morning and reading devotionals before bed. Julie says it's the one part of their pre-prison life that hasn't changed. We were broken, she admitted. But God isn't finished with us yet. Parenting through pain. Perhaps the cruelest twist of all has been closed questions. The bright, precocious child now senses when people stare. She asks why strangers recognize her. She wants to know why her friends' parents whisper when she comes over. She's lost a lot of innocence, Todd said solemnly. And I'd trade every dollar I've ever made to give it back to her. Julie and Todd are trying to maintain a sense of normalcy, from school pickups to dance recitals. But the pressure is real and constant. I can't even chaperone a field trip without getting side-eyed by the other moms, Julie said. They see my past before they see my heart. Looking ahead, despite everything, the Chrisleys insist they're not giving up. Not on each other, not on their children, and not on the possibility of a better future. I don't need the mansions, Todd said. I need peace. I need purpose. And I want to show the world, and especially our kids, that even when life kicks you down hard, you can still stand up again. Julie nodded. Prison tested our bodies. But this life after, it tests our souls. They don't expect sympathy, but they do want understanding, and maybe someday grace.